Thank you for saying yes to being on the Alpha team in this global pandemic. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Now, if you've been invited to be a table host, you're going to have to find yourself an Alpha alumni who you want to work with on your table. So that's going to be your very first assignment. One of the things that you're going to want to consider is that between the two of you, you're going to be 100% responsible for filling your small group or your small table with guests. The goal for the two of you as table team is to invite between 4 and 6 guests total. So that's 2 to 3 for each of you. So between you, you need to fill your table. Please do not go back to the organizer of your Alpha and say you don't have enough and expect them to fill it for you. That is 100% on you as you join this Alpha team. I think it's an exciting opportunity. Let's face it, 99 of the 100 excuses that we get for why people can't do Alpha are literally gone in this pandemic environment. And so let's find ways to reach out to those people that we love and care about who haven't experienced Alpha yet. Now is the time. The duration of Alpha is going to run for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's a lot more condensed than it is normally, which is another reason I think it's going to be easier for you and I to invite our friends and family members who may not have had the time in the past or who may not have made the time in the past. This is the time for us to connect with those people. When it comes to inviting my guests, I'm going to call them on the telephone. I'm going to have a very clear conversation about what I'm inviting them to, and I'm going to get my yes. This is the season for yeses. Once I get that yes, then I'm going to send them the email with the Zoom attachment, the Zoom link, the Zoom invitation, and that's where they'll register. By registering, they'll be able to add those meeting dates straight into their calendar as reminders, which is going to be so helpful. Then they'll just have to press on that link and it will take them automatically right into the Alpha session. Isn't that cool? Let me give you some Zoom tips. Zoom is the video platform that we're going to be using to host the Alpha session. It's an amazing tool. First thing you're going to notice when you get on a Zoom session is you will see the screen, obviously, and that screen has 2 different views. The first one is a gallery view. The gallery view allows you to see all these little squares with faces or names in them of the guests that are attending. I love using that one when there's multiple guests. But if somebody's doing a fair bit of talking, sometimes what I do is I go to speaker view and then their face will come up and that's all I will see is their face, or I should say that's predominantly what I see is their face. And there are some smaller boxes on the side with some of the guests that are also on the call with me. So toggle between gallery view and speaker view to get comfortable with it. Another feature of Zoom that I think you're really going to enjoy is the chat feature. I think it's actually a really important feature, particularly for the table helpers, because you can send notes directly to people from your table as a hospitality tool, as then they show up on the Alpha session itself, but also as a tool to encourage in the small group times when somebody says something, you might want to jot them a quick note and say, hey, listen, I really appreciated your vulnerability there, way to go. And so that chat feature is a tool that you can send a note out to all of the people or individual people. And so get comfortable with that chat feature. As a helper at a table, it's going to be a tool that you're going to want to get really familiar with. It's going to be one of your best friends. One of the other helpful features in Zoom is that people's name will show up in their picture pane. And that is so helpful when you want to talk to somebody. I'm not great at remembering names, and it's so cool. But sometimes people's name is Toshiba or iPad. And so there is a way to change that. There's 3 dots in each window pane, and you can click on it. Or you'll see a box that says more information, and you can click on that and change the name to make sure it reflects your name. So make sure that as team members, you do that so that your table guests will know exactly who you are. One of the things that we're going to try to do in this online Alpha is to share our screen. So one person, the host, is going to share their screen so we can live stream or stream the video. And so in order for that to have its best quality, you're going to need to shut off your video feed. And so there's a button at the bottom of the screen that looks like a video camera. If you click on that, it'll put an arrow or a cross through it, and it will stop showing your face on the screen. It will just have your name. And so that's what we're going to have to do from time to time to make sure that we can watch the video as seamlessly as possible. So get familiar with turning your mute button, your microphone on and off, and your video button on and off. And both of those are found in the bottom left of your screen. So give that a try. As you guys enter into your small groups, you're probably going to want to take a minute just to unpack with people how the week is going in terms of being cooped up in their homes during this pandemic. But once you do start getting into the questions from the video, I just wanted you to know that we made a video that probably got sent out to your guests as they registered. And I invited them to bring a pen and a piece of paper with them to watch the videos so that they could copy down 2 questions and 2 comments that they would pull out of those videos and bring with them into the small group time. I think that's really going to help unpack those videos in a fun and engaging way. One of the things we learned from others who've been doing Alpha Online is the dynamics change a little bit in terms of the silent time and inviting people to participate. One of the things that we really try to avoid is putting anybody on the spot. However, online, it's a little bit different. We do need to be a little bit more assertive in terms of inviting people to participate. So if you know that people have been invited to ask 2 questions and have 2 comments ready, you just might want to say, hey, who had a comment that they'd like to get this conversation started and be willing to share? Or, hey, what was one of the 2 questions that you had? Who would like to share that question to get the conversation started? And so you might have to go a little bit, you might have to take a different approach and go at it a little differently. But I promise you're going to have a lot of fun, and so will they, as we lean into these tips and how to facilitate a great small group experience. We encourage you guys as Table Team to watch the Alpha training videos. A lot of those principles still apply to doing an online Alpha experience. So please take the time to watch those videos, internalize what they're saying. Really important. Let's not teach. Let's not use religious jargon. Let's give people space and let the conversation continue. We may have to be a little more assertive as table hosts, but remember, this is an opportunity for guests to share their beliefs, their ideas, their understandings, and their experiences without judgment. And so let's make sure that we do a really good job of not teaching, not using jargon, and not dominating the floor. The floor is theirs. We ask questions and draw out answers to get conversation going and building relationships.